Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. It's your boy D Black coming back. As you know, coming to you raw and uncut. All right, SmackDown tonight. Well, yeah, there's no storyline leading up to WrestleMania. There's really nothing really leading up to the Elimination Chamber. The people that are being added into the chamber, I guess, are going to be okay. What are the other two matches other than that? Well, we know one, is going to be CM Punk, and Finn Balor in a match that we saw a few weeks ago on SmackDown. All right, but anyway, at the end of this video, I'm going to be giving, or maybe at the beginning, I'll give an update on Bianca Belair. I have some recovery photos that I would like to share. So, but anyway, SmackDown. All right, the show really sucked. I mean, the matches weren't too bad. It's just they were out of order um, and everything. But we're going to start off with Cody Rhodes coming out, getting ready to do a promo. But other than that, Jacob Fatu comes out, and he's saying about keeping it 100, and telling Cody that he wouldn't be here, in the spot that he's in if it wasn't for Drew McIntyre. You know, um, Saying that his concern is not Cody and stuff, but his concern for himself is Drew McIntyre because Drew McIntyre, has been interfering in a lot of matches with Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes, and then Jacob Fatu calls out Drew McIntyre. Then Nick Aldis comes out and he says that he sent Drew home for the night and Drew wouldn't be here because he didn't want to take any risk of anything happening as far as anybody getting hurt or anything like that. Then he tells Jacob Fatu, to come to his office so they can talk. And then Drew is up in the audience, up in the stands, in the seats, you know, and Drew tells them that, they can't keep his name um, out of their mouths. And he tells, Nick that he got tickets, so he can sit, and watch the show. And tells Jacob Fatu that he's all gas and no bark and. And then they, with a lot of bark and no bite. And then Jacob Fatu goes off, starts destroying some of the officials and stuff like that. And then Nick comes down and he tries to calm him down, and stuff like that. And then, you know, Jacob's calmed down and leaves, and then Drew starts to say, you know, um, everyone's, after him because, he's the champion and everyone wants, to be the champ, don't want him to be the champ because, everybody wants to be the champ because he's the champ and stuff like that. But anyway, Drew's not, making too much sense about anything and stuff. This segment was, yeah, it was okay. And then Cody, goes and tells Drew, you know, um, that the whole world, is not after him because Drew said that the whole world was after him because he was a champ and stuff. And then, Cody's letting him know that the whole world's not after him because he's a champ. He said the whole world's after him because he's an asshole. And then Cody walks off. There was no fire there. There was nothing. So are we trying to say that Cody is going to win the Elimination Chamber and go after Drew McIntyre, for the title? Because that's what the promo seems like. Or are we going to, something's going to end up crazy like it did, last chamber as far as with Bianca Belair, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Remember, Bianca won the chamber but ended up in a triple threat. And that's how she broke her finger. And that's how she broke her finger in that match. And some of the the surgery that went with that and everything is crazy. That injury is real brutal and stuff. Her finger, man, is just out of whack. So they did the surgery on her finger, and I think the surgery was like earlier in this month, and now the video is out of that, and now she's going through recovery. and I think she'll be back hopefully hopefully for SummerSlam. If she shows up at WrestleMania, it's only going to be, just a face plant, just to, let us know that she's still around and that she's healing and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't think we're going to see Bianca Belair until about, um, yeah, probably around SummerSlam. But anyway, Nick Aldis and Jacob Fatu in the back, and Nick's telling Jacob, he will get his, match with Drew McIntyre. So I don't know when that match is going to happen. Hopefully, it's not a title match or anything like that. But why would you put these matches together before WrestleMania and stuff? There's always that risk that there could be an injury and stuff. And hopefully, I mean, I don't know how this is going to go. It's pretty weird with me and stuff on how they have things going in the WWE and stuff. But anyway, our first match is Ilja Dragunov and Toma Tunga. The match is okay. I mean, they were all over the place. It was pretty brutal. It was pretty physical, and everything. So it ended up good. Toma Tunga, wins with his move. It's like a shoulder block or something like that. I can't remember the name of the finishing um, of it, but anyway, Tama Tonga wins, and then Solo Sokoa, gets on the mic and starts telling everybody that we thought he was playing, you know, and that he's not messing around and stuff like that, and he's going to, they have the tag titles, and pretty soon they're going to have the world title and stuff like that, and everything. Then Ilya Dragunov tries to attack Solo Sikoa, but then the MFTs, get him, start beating him up, and then Matt Cardona comes out, and then Matt Cardona gets beat up by the MFTs, and then Apollo Cruz comes out, and he gets stomped and beat up by the MFTs and stuff, and then Ilya Dragunov gets beat up a little bit more and stuff. But anyway, then the lights go out, and then the White Six, I mean not the White Six, but Uncle Hottie gets up, and he starts talking, and there's nothing even to waste my time about talking about because they were talking about nothing, nothing. And then they come back with Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis talking, and Nick is telling Drew, that to leave the building and stuff like that, and that he wasn't supposed to be there, and that if he keeps pushing him, he's going to find out what he can do. And then ultimately, Drew leaves the building and stuff. And then we get Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill put on a pretty good promo. She really did good. It was pretty interesting. I guess she meant what she said what she meant and stuff. Saying that she defends her title on her own time. Said that the women, when they step back, when they step out or try to come and approach her, they look at her and they fold. Then she talks about Liv Morgan, saying that, she knows that Liv, has to make that decision somewhere, I guess, next week. I know it has to be before, the Elimination Chamber and stuff like that. So next week, they're going to be in Atlanta, in Jay Cargill's hometown and stuff. And then, Jay said, "That's my hometown, so it's gonna be on, And then Jay goes on to say whether she picks her or not, and then she goes on and says that whoever wins the Elimination Chamber, and she names everybody that's in it so far. I know there's one more qualifying match to see who's going to be the last person in on the women's side, and then Jay says that at WrestleMania, when she walks out, she's still going to walk out as champion because she's that B, you know. And then she walks out and stuff, and then Charlotte Flair's music starts, and out comes Charlotte. And then Jade and Charlotte, they start, that, face to face, staring at each other And then Jay's getting in Charlotte's face saying that she's that B and stuff. She's the world champion and stuff like that. And then then Charlotte walks off. When that Charlotte walks off, Jay gets right back into her face again, and then says that, hey, she's that B. If you're coming for her, come on. And then officials start coming out, to try to separate them and everything. So it's going to be interesting. Are they saying that Charlotte's going to doggone win the chamber and then get with Jade and stuff? I don't know. Are these little secrets that are inside here telling us who's going to win the chamber and stuff? But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be something. It's going to be a trip, you know. And then we got Charlotte Flair, Kiana James, and Nia Jax. Well, in my last words, I said, so we know it's not going to be Charlotte Flair that's going to be in the chamber and stuff unless a miracle happens. But this match with Charlotte Flair, Kiana James, and Nia Jax, it was a pretty good match. I think this was the best match of the night. I mean, they really went at it and stuff. I'm just surprised with Kiana James and the performance that she did, in the match with, Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair. I mean, it was it was good. You know, Nia Jax was about ready to put her move on her, and Charlotte, kicks Nia in the back and stuff, and then she's about ready to figure eight Nia, and then Kiana comes in and she picks up the win. I mean, I'm surprised. Kiana James, she wins, the qualifying match. It's like, wow. And then at one point in the match, Charlotte tells Nia that she hits like a bee and stuff. But they kind of kicked it up. Like I said, it was the best match of the night. Congratulations to Kiana James winning it and going into, the Elimination Chamber. you know. And Kiana James is strong. She picked up Nia Jax. She picked and gave her a Samoa drop. So yeah, that's saying something. So I have to give kudos out to Kiana James. She worked it and she did her thing. Okay, and this is another thing that just really pisses me off is because Femi and how they're doing Femi. He should not even be in the doggone ring with Kit Wilson. He already destroyed Kit Wilson once. And so why is Ober in the ring now, destroying Kit Wilson? And then on main event, he's on there just doing jobbers, just beating up jobbers and stuff. Obafemi should be used as a beast. A few weeks ago that, Obafemi, went into the ring and he destroyed the War Raiders. I mean, destroyed the War Raiders. So what is Triple H doing with him and stuff? I mean, Obafemi is that guy. I mean, he is that guy. He can talk pretty decent, and he moves. I mean, he's a monster and stuff. Supposed to be a destructor and everything, destroy people, you know. And so I would love to see Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. That would be a match. Whether or not Obafemi will take Brock Lesnar, but I think by pushing Obafemi on, I think Brock Lesnar will take that L and stuff just to put Obafemi over. I would love to see that happen. I wish they could do that match, for WrestleMania. That would be a good match. And if they're thinking about it, they should start it now, get that story going and stuff. You got the Beast and you got the Destroyer. Because Femi, boy, I'm telling you, you're no joke and stuff. But hopefully that happens and everything. Then we get the match with Tiffany Stratton and Alba Fire. Um, we all know that Chelsea Green, broke her ankle. Well, it appears that she broke her ankle and stuff, but when she got up out of that wheelchair, she was standing up pretty good. So is it a work or not? Not sure, but they say it's broke. So But anyway, Tiffany Stratton, she does the pretty smooth saw and elbow fire, and she wins the match and stuff. Then we got the backstage segment with Cody and Sami Zayn, and Sami's, complaining about how he lost, the qualifying match. Then he tries to blame Cody, you know, and we know that Drew came down, you know, out in the match, to stop Cody, from winning, the qualifying match. But then Sami Zayn, ends up hitting Drew McIntyre with the Haluna kick. So he's the one that actually messed up, because once he hit Drew with that Haluna kick, he fell right into Cody's hands, right into the Cody cutter, and he got pinned, you know. And so Sammy's, trying to blame, Cody for that, you know. eh, I don't know. They both say, words, about who sacrificed and everything, what and who did what and everything, because Sammy's saying, what he did as far as getting to where he's at. And then Cody, we all know Cody's journey and stuff to get to where he's at, but I still don't see why he's still in the position, because he's had the title, he's lost the title, he did his thing with John Cena, he did his thing with the other, I don't know. Cody's just starting to become annoying, and if he becomes heel, I might like Cody even better and stuff, But then Cody ends up telling Sami Zayn the only thing, that's in Sammy's way is Sammy himself. And then Sammy gets a little bit pissed off and stuff. And then Trick Williams, tells Sammy, he's going to go out and do something that Sammy couldn't do, right? Is to get the job done, you know. So he says, let's talk about it, and then walks off. And Sammy gets mad, and he runs and he starts calling, he calls Cody and stuff. And he tells Cody that he's, sorry for the, the things that he said and stuff, and that Cody was right, on what he said. And then tells Cody, Cody will win, the WWE Championship again, and it says it's not, it's a matter of when, and not if, he's saying that Cody is going to win the belt sometime soon again. It could happen and stuff. It could, but we're going to be in for another drought if it does. Cody be in the ring maybe once out of every 4 months and stuff. So I don't know. I just can't see Cody as champion again. I'm hoping that Trick Williams, now that he did, I'm hoping that, I'm getting ahead of myself now. But anyway, Cody says, you know, well, Sammy says if, Cody wins, not to forget him. And then Cody says that he won't forget, Sammy, and then walks off. Then we get the match, qualifying match with Carmelo Hayes, Damian Priest, and Trick Williams. Trick Williams is right now, he is way over. People love him, even though he's trying to be a heel, but people love him. Him and his lemon pepper steppers, you know, it's the thing, Trick is working and stuff, and I'm hoping that Triple H does not destroy this guy. He's good. He's good in the ring. He's good on the mic and stuff. The match was it was a pretty decent match. It was back and forth, and then Trick hits Damian Priest with the trick shot and everything, and pins Damian Priest and wins and stuff. And then we get this crazy match. Well, hold on. Before that, we get Jade backstage with B-Fab, telling B-Fab that she wanted, another shot or, get some or whatever. And then Meechin comes out and everything. So I'm sure, yeah, because Meechin got hurt because Jade hurt Meechin. Meechin was out injured. So Meechin wants to come back and go after Jade. Okay, we'll see how that happens and stuff. But it's a match. It could be a halfway decent match. Jade is starting to, get tuned in the ring. She needs more. She needs more matches though. They need to put her in the ring a lot more than what she's, than what she's doing, instead of walking around with the belt and not having matches or defending it and stuff. So then we get the match with Giulia and Rhea Ripley. You know, I mean, this match was okay and stuff. I mean, it was a little bit boring, but it started coming out, to be okay, you know. And then all of a sudden, we have Nia Jax comes out with Lash Legend, and they just nail Rhea Ripley and stuff. And then Io Sky comes out, you know, to help and everything. They get the little upper hand, and then Nia Jax and Lash Legend, they leave the ring. Rhea and Neo are in the ring, hugging up on each other and stuff like that. The match was, a disqualification, so I guess a no contest match. So that's that with that. And then we have backstage with, Miz, talking to Femi. And this fool done talked himself into a match with Femi. I don't understand why. I mean, the Miz might give a little bit of something to but he will destroy the Miz next week. He will. Yeah, he will. And then we got Solo Sikoa, talking to Toma Tunga, giving him his praise on, the win over Ilja Dragunov and stuff. So, and then he's, saying that, that they're gonna get not just the tag team belts, that he's gonna win that, championship belt and everything. And then, the MFTs will be, full, but he said that they're gonna win all the belts. So I don't know how that's gonna happen and stuff, but if they win the tag belt, the US title and the world championship, I guess they would hold most of the belts, in there, on SmackDown. And then Shinsuke Nakamura, comes out and gets in Tama Tonga's face after Solo Sikoa walks off and stuff, telling Tama Tonga that he's being held back by Solo Sikoa and that he's not his own man. And Tonga says that he is his own man. And then Shinsuke Nakamura tells him, to prove it in the match. He said, prove it in your next match, whether it be next week or a match. And I'm sure they're probably going to have a match with Tama Tonga and Shinsuke Nakamura. Then we get the qualifying match with Alister Black. I mean, we get the not qualifying match, sorry. But we get, the main event, Alister Black against Randy Orton. The match is kind of okay. I mean, it wasn't all that great. Like I said, some of the matches were out of order. I think the women's qualifying match, because it was the best match of the night, it should have been the main event. At least the people were in it, because after that, it was dead after that match, But anyway, in this match, Alistair Black and Randy Orton, they're, going at it and stuff like that. The match is pretty good. I mean, back and forth. Randy, kept dropping them on the announcer's table and stuff. Alistair Black, was doing his thing and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, Drew comes out and he hits Randy with the belt and stuff. So Drew interferes. Why Drew interfered and hit Randy with the belt is beyond me. Because Drew has an issue with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. But yet he attacks Randy Orton. So I guess, I don't know how they're trying to do this or how they're actually spinning this and stuff like that. Because why is Aleister Black beating Randy Orton, and Randy Orton is the one who won, a position in the Elimination Chamber, to fight to see who faces Drew McIntyre and stuff. So it's not going to be Aleister Black. Hell, he's a jobber and stuff. But it's funny. I don't understand it, but they buried, Randy Orton with this loss. He gets hit with a black mass and then Aleister Black wins it. But anyway, I guess that, I don't understand. Triple H, woo, SmackDown and Raw. I don't know. Oh man, that's why the ticket sales are bad. They actually marked down the tickets. I think it's 30% and stuff. I think they have been giving tickets away, no, just to fill the seats around WrestleMania. And I also think there was a bad idea having WrestleMania back to back in Las Vegas. It's already expensive there, and now you're going to have back to back, and then you got SmackDown and Raw during that time also. So I don't know. I'll be surprised if they fill the stadium. Or if anything's them back. You know, I don't know. This is crazy. Um, all right. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if you agree or disagree or anything like that. I'm gonna wish Bianca Belair speedy recovery because the women division really needs her because it sucks without her and stuff. So, all right. Thank you for watching. God bless. Deuces. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.